a rapidly escalating conflict between the United States and Iran that has sent shockwaves across the region and around the world. Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, is dead following a series of U.S. military strikes ordered by President Donald Trump. The strikes, which began late Friday and continued into the weekend, targeted key military installations, command centers, and facilities linked to Iran's missile and nuclear programs. The White House says the operation was designed to neutralize what it called imminent threats to U.S. personnel and allied interests in the region. President Trump addressed the nation, describing the operation as decisive and necessary. He said the United States would not allow Iran to develop or deploy weapons capable of threatening American forces or its allies. The president also issued a warning, saying any further retaliation from Iran would be met with what he called overwhelming force. Iranian state media confirmed Khamenei's death hours after the initial reports. The government announced a period of national mourning and described the strikes as an act of war. Khamenei, who had served as Iran's supreme leader for more than 3 decades, was the country's most powerful political and religious authority. His death marks a historic turning point for Iran and the region. Iranian officials have vowed retaliation. Within hours of the strikes, Iran launched a series of missiles and drones toward targets linked to the United States and its allies. Sirens sounded in Israel as air defense systems intercepted incoming projectiles. U.S. military bases in the Persian Gulf were placed on high alert. Officials in several Gulf states reported attempted strikes near strategic facilities. Many of the missiles were shot down, but authorities are still assessing damage and casualties. The Pentagon says American forces remain in a defensive posture, but are fully prepared to respond if necessary. This escalation follows months of rising tensions. U.S. officials have long accused Iran of expanding its missile program and supporting armed groups throughout the region. Iran, for its part, has accused the United States of destabilizing the Middle East and imposing crippling sanctions. Tonight, the region sits on edge. The death of Khamenei creates a significant leadership vacuum inside Iran. Under Iran's political system, a body known as the Assembly of Experts will play a key role in selecting a successor. Until that process is complete, a temporary leadership structure is expected to maintain control. Analysts say the transition could prove delicate, particularly as Iran navigates military pressure from outside and political uncertainty from within. Internationally, reaction has been swift. World leaders are urging restraint and calling for de-escalation. Diplomatic channels are reportedly active, with efforts underway to prevent a broader regional war. Global markets responded immediately. Oil prices surged amid concerns about potential disruption to shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway through which a significant portion of the world's energy supply passes. Energy analysts warn that any interruption in traffic through the strait could have major consequences for global supply chains and consumer prices. Meanwhile, U.S. lawmakers are debating the legal and strategic implications of the strikes. Some members of Congress have expressed support for the president's actions, saying they were necessary to protect national security. Others have raised questions about the potential for a prolonged conflict and whether additional authorization from Congress should have been sought. At the United Nations, emergency consultations are expected as diplomats seek to calm the situation. On the ground, civilians across the region are bracing for uncertainty. Airports in some cities have suspended flights. Embassies have advised citizens to remain vigilant. Military forces throughout the region are operating at heightened readiness levels. The broader question tonight is whether this marks a short-lived exchange or the beginning of a wider conflict. Historically, direct confrontation between the United States and Iran has been limited, often playing out through proxy conflicts and diplomatic standoffs. This moment is different. The death of Iran's supreme leader represents a dramatic escalation, one that could reshape power dynamics across the Middle East. For the United States, the administration maintains that its objectives are limited, to deter further threats and prevent Iran from developing capabilities that could endanger American lives. For Iran, the strike at the heart of its political and religious leadership, a blow that is likely to fuel calls for a strong response. As night falls across the region, missile defense systems remain active, diplomats remain engaged, and military commanders remain on alert. The coming hours and days will be critical. We will continue to follow developments closely and bring you updates as this story evolves. For now, the world watches as two longtime adversaries stand at a crossroads with consequences that could extend far beyond the Middle East.